seems like a strange thing. I'm going to propose something to you. Make your documents, make your speeches a work of art. We sit down, we talk about design your jeans, design your clothes, paintings. We have all these beautiful things, your words, you have within yourself the capacity, if you take the time out to sit down there and craft memos that can actually be pretty, believe it or not, a pretty or a beautiful memo. And you do that by going through and planning your design ahead of time instead of just reacting. Make sure you're going through adding these 5 things. Look at headings and then include bullets or numbers. People like them both and they're used a little bit differently. Use short sentence, not long ones. Write short paragraphs, not long ones. Set effective margins. Don't pretend that nobody notices that you squeeze the 45 words into one sentence. Don't do that. Make certain that it's clear what you're doing. Normally your margins are inch to inch and a half. Your computer has a standard format in it, but if you want to sit there and change it, you can go in there and change it. You can make it larger, you can make it smaller. It's always recommended you have a good inch to inch and a half on the margins. Frankly, the more white space, the sharper and crisper the document's going to look. We always use what we call a ragged right. You'll see here on this slide, the blue section over here, you'll see it's got a straight line down the left side, and we let the right side, that'll be different. Here is an example of the concept of a ragged right. On the ragged right, you'll see over here how it goes in and out and in and out. That actually adds some character to your paper because of the fact that you see it varies. You can always go double justification on the left and the right, full justification, but that's used sometimes in textbooks. In my opinion, it makes the textbooks more boring than usual. Okay, so that being said, don't be one of these people that has to have everything precise. When you do double justification on the left and the right, the problem is that you have bigger spaces between the words and they're not consistent. They'll jump in some words, you'll have a larger space between two words than others, and it really actually irritates people more than helps them. Always have a ragged right margin. When you look on the different types of fonts, only have 2 types of fonts in a document. If you do more, it irritates people at a level, and they would probably never express that I don't like it. They don't know why they don't like it, but that being said, you want to have one that's a harsh font. Okay, we call it sans serif. Okay, and that being said, you'll see on the left-hand side, this is an Arial. It's harsh, there's no tails in it, and your eyes are drawn to it right away. But it's not a matter, it's a pleasant thing, but sometimes you want that in your documents. The ones on the right have tails, they have serifs. Sans is without, and the other one is serif. So you have that. Look at the fancier, and it's much more pleasant to the eye as you're going through and you're reading it. Typically, you'll see a lot of times you have a combination. You have the Arial for the headings, for the text you have Times New Roman. A lot of times you'll have Calibri for your heading, and you'll have Cambria for your text. It works really well that way as you go back and forth between them. As you go through, you have a harsh font all the time for your headings, and you have a soft font for your text. Just for fun, look at this over here, Courier. Screenplays are written in Courier. If you ever want to submit a screenplay to Hollywood or whatever places has a studio, okay, always use Courier. That is really part of the language of that particular industry. But if you look at Courier, is nothing but a throwback to the manual typewriter days. Every single character is exactly the same width. So times do change, but sometimes they don't as you go through. Here's a sample of a whole series of different kinds of typefaces as you go through. Garamond has made a huge push into the marketplace for books. You see that used an awful lot. Really, the first major one to use that was the Harry Potter series of all things. So you have different kinds that you use. When you get too fancy and you have a consistent page after page after page of it, that is not relaxing and people don't settle down into it. But sometimes you want to have a bold font on a flyer as you come through. So always think about that. It depends. A lot of computers are preset for an 11 pitch font. I personally recommend a 12 pitch font, and that way you can have the age difference in your audience without having them squinting, because sometimes as people get older, the smaller font is irritating to them. When you go below 8, you'll see a lot of spreadsheets if you actually go below 10, you'll see that and it becomes really hard to read. So you always want to have that 8 to 10 thing. My recommendation is always the 12 pitch on your memos as you go through. On your spreadsheets, try to keep them the smallest to a 10 pitch font as you go through. Use different things too. As long as you're keeping within the 2 font rule, you're probably fine. On the using italicized and underlines as you go through. Too much special effects will turn people off, and frankly, it makes them ill. And you don't want to be the subject of their wrath when they're really sick about reading your stuff, your 5-page report, and their eyes are crawling back and forth on the page because you sat there and did double justification. You had 5 fonts. You don't want to do that. Don't be afraid of leaving white spaces in your memos. Keep in mind that when you write a business memo, single space paragraph, double space in between. We'll talk about a couple other things. Look at this over here. People like numbers. Look at this in the very bottom over here. On the left-hand side, there is no question you want to write the business plan first, find the venture capital, and then prepare a feasibility study. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You have it all written there. Now, look on the other side. The other side, it tells you what you need to do, but it doesn't command you to do them in an order, but it certainly does make it clear what you're supposed to do. Environmental regulations, employee benefit plans, license requirements, but there's not an order. It's a little bit more relaxed than the command of the 1, 2, 3. But the 1, 2, 3, there's no question what the steps are in the process. Go through when you make a list. On the left-hand side, you're going to see all this non-parallel in the process. On the right-hand side, you'll see something different in the process. Social media goes, look at, you're saying the same thing, but you're keeping everything within the dots. When you come down the whole thing, and they're one-liners, so it's really easy to understand. The very best cover letter I ever saw on a resume. 44 applications came rolling in. One guy, he was very experienced, he was very polished in his craft, but his memo, what he did on his memo, he had the opening sentence, thanking the committee for looking at his application, and then he did 5 bullet points. Each bullet point was 1 line long. Out of 44 applications, everybody's brain was all scrambled by the time they finished reading them, but multiple people referred to his application. The guy with the bullet points, yeah, him. Everybody forgot his name, just like they forgot everybody else's. He got an interview and he got the job. He was clear, he was concise. Everybody remembered 2 or 3 of the 5 bullet points he did because he made such an impact by having his concise and his clarity in actually conveying that his skills matched our needs. It's a big deal. So the other one that can really help your papers look good, your memos, your emails even, is this whole thing about making certain you have good headings. Here, you'll see, once again, you have the straight line all the way down. Left justification. On the right side, you'll see it's a ragged right as you go down the page. You also have headings. You have attracting applicants in bold with a period after it. Boom, 2 words, attracting applicants, interviewing applicants, checking references, 2 words. You have parallel work on here on the headings, and they're bold, and there's a period after each one. The period actually grammatically isn't necessary, maybe even inappropriate, except for the fact there's no question in your mind that that is a separate topic and you're meeting that separate topic. Big deal because of the fact that the person's eyes is being drawn. You're jumping, and if you don't want to read the whole thing, you can just sit down and read the headings as you come down the line. Designer documents provide a fashionable document. Almost it's an artistry. Once you sit down and get the hang of doing designer documents, craft your work so people can see what you communicate. If you do it well, they'll sit down there, and when they see your work coming through, they might actually say, oh, it's from so-and-so, and mention your name. Take time, watch a detail, the same as an artist on canvas. Take care.